All right, so the first thing when we do a solid form haircut, which we will be doing today, is to make sure that we've done all our safety and sanitation. So I disinfected my workspace, I gathered all of the tools that I would need for the haircut, and I shampooed my client. I'm just wetting her down now. I'm going to section her into 4 equal parts, starting with the apex, starting with nose to nape, and then apex to ear. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the middle of the forehead, taking it all the way through. Notice how I lay my comb right on the scalp. All the way down to the nape, center of the nape. So I end up with 2 even partings, making sure that I'm in the middle of the head. It's important. And then I'm going to do apex to ear. So I want to go to the top, the highest part of the head, and I'm going to go to the center of the ear. I'm going to section that off. I'm going to twist it up so it's nice, workable area. And clip it up out of the way. I have this section in the back. I'm going to take that, I'm going to clip that up out of my way. Now it's really important that her hair stays the equal dampness all over. So if it's wet, it needs to be the same wetness everywhere. So have nose to nape, apex to ear, and then I'm going to do the other side, apex to ear. So I want to find the top center of my client's ear. I'm going to start the apex directly across from where I put my first parting. I'm going to take it all the way down to the center of the ear. I'm going to clip that up out of the way. And I'm going to do that to my back section here. So I end up with 4 equal parts on the head. Nice, clean partings in my 4 sections. So after I get my 4 clean sections, I am going to, and I can do it at the same time as I'm sectioning, I'm going to take down the perimeter around my entire haircut. So about a 1/2 inch comes down around the entire hairline. I know it's important that my partings are nice and straight and clean. Following it all the way around the entire head. Again, on the side by the ear. I'm going to clip that up out of the way so I don't have to worry about catching it or combing it down. So I have the entire hairline down around my client. All right, I want to make sure that my client's head is tilted forward. So I'm going to tilt her head slightly down so she's looking towards the floor. The more I have her down, the better, because I get a nice bevel under. So I really want to concentrate on where her placement is and if her head is on straight and not tilted to one side or the other. I'm going to confirm that she's wet. If I need to wet her down some more, I can wet her down some more. So the one thing about hairstyles and cutting is making sure that we're ergonomically correct. So if we're ergonomically correct, it's going to be less damaging on our body. All right, we're going to cut our solid form at 0 degrees or at natural fall. So think about where your client's body would be. I want to hold it straight out from there. Her body would be here. I want to keep my wrists nice and straight. I'm just going to trim it off. Start right in the center of the back of the head. I'm going to work my way to the left if I'm right-handed. I'm going to work my way to the right if I'm left-handed. Again, I'm keeping my shoulders down. I pumped my client up so she is directly in front of me, and I'm standing directly behind my workspace. I'm going to go back and I'm going to take it off the right side. I'm going to find my guide in the center that I cut before. Cut straight across. Making sure I'm even. And following through all the way out to the side by the ears. All right, when I get to this cross center piece right here, I'm going to have my client look over her shoulder so that I can cut this so I don't have to worry about her shoulder being in the way. She's slightly tilted, but just a bit. Find my guide from the back, hold it down, palm to palm. I'm not twisting the hair up, I'm keeping it straight, not rotating it up. Once I rotate it, I end up with graduation, which I do not want. All right, I ran out of hair on the sides. I have 2 hairs on this side. I'm going to switch. I'm going to have her look over her other side so that I can cut that side. And then I'm going to cross-check to make sure that it's even. So I'm going to find my guide from the back, take those 2 hairs off that are there, and then work my way down. See if I have any little hairs that need to come off. Again, palm to palm, standing behind my workspace. Then I'm going to have my client look straight ahead, and I'm going to check to make sure that the haircut is even. Making sure that my sides are even, all the way to my front. If not, I'm going to go back and recut. Find my guide back here. Just going to look it over again, make sure it's nice and even. A little bit longer right here, so I'm going to trim that up. I want to make sure that my guide is nice and even because this is my stationary guide. I use it for the entire haircut. From here, I'm going to take off about a 1/2 inch parting, maybe 1 inch depending on how thick her hair is. Clip it up out of my way. Again, bring it straight across. I should end up with a nice straight part from right to left with my guide all the way down. Again, I want to make sure that my client is nice and wet so that I can get an even cut when the hair dries and it is thoroughly dry all the way through. Again, thinking about 0 degrees or natural fall, so how would their hair fall naturally? Having them looking down, not having them cross their legs so that I don't have to worry that one side's going to be longer than the other. Palm to palm, keeping my wrist nice and straight as I work through the haircut. And then working back to my right side. Taking those stragglers off as I work my way through. I like to cross check, just make sure it's even. Take my next section, take it across, ½ inch, depending on how thick their hair is. And working my way up, clip that up out of the way so that it's not in my way to work. And again, taking that part all the way across. Combing it down with the fine teeth, so making sure that I don't have any bubbles or anything in the hair so that it ends up being uneven when I'm done. Again, palm to palm, trimming that off, working my way around. I just want to make sure that I'm seeing my guide. If the hair is too thick or the section's too thick and I can't see my guide, sometimes I end up cutting it off and making the hair shorter than I anticipated. So I always want to make sure that I can see my guide when I'm cutting. All right, so this next section that I'm going to take is start to move into the sides. Twist that up out of my way. Again, the partings truly depend on how thick your client's hair is. If they have really thick hair, could be an issue. If they have thinner hair, it might be a little bit easier to take larger sections than it is for someone with thin hair. All right, I'm running out of hair to cut. I only have a couple strands here. So at this point, I'm going to drop that entire crown area down. I'm going to make sure that I'm combing it in natural distribution. That meaning how their hair would fall naturally as I work through the haircut. Making sure again that she's nice and wet. Starting in the center, combing all the way down to the scalp. I have all of this hair in my hand. I want to make sure I take the entire section in my hand. All of the previously cut sections and the new sections. Not finding anything to cut. All right, from here, I have the entire back cut. Now I need to move into my sides. So one thing I didn't say about the sides was you have to accommodate for the ear. So if the hair is really long or really thick, I'm going to have to push that hair to release it on the sides. Again, taking horizontal partings. My client is looking over her shoulder. She's slightly tilted, just a smidge, so I can cut the sides. Clip that up out of the way. Again, making sure she's nice and wet. Making sure I'm cutting to my guide on the sides. All right. So again, releasing if I need to, right by the ears there. Taking my section down, clipping it out of the way. What I need. Looking for any little stragglers that need to be cut. She doesn't have it on her sides yet. Because I didn't have anything to cut, I'm going to drop this whole entire side down. Make sure I get everything combed around her head. Got a couple snarls here. I'm going to release those snarls. Comb the front back, so when their client, because the client's probably not going to wear her hair in her face, so you want to make sure that you comb the hair all the way back. I'm going to start back here, work my way forward, see if I have any little stragglers to cut. Nothing there. Really combing this back, Keep it up out of her face, combing it down, releasing anything by the ear if I need to. I'm going to go to the opposite side. Make sure I have her head tilted down. Taking section by section, finding my guide underneath there. So parting it off, bring it up out of the way, making sure it's equally wet. Make sure I don't have any hair to cut, which I didn't. Taking down my next section, about an inch, half inch, depending on how thick their hair is, clipping it up out of the way. Releasing by the ear if I need to. I can use my shear, I can use the back of my comb, whatever it is that's necessary. So right here by the face, I might need to start tucking that back right there, so that when she wears it back, it is even. This whole section left. And drop it down, comb that together with the back. Make sure I have nice, clean parting. Combing it down, finding my guide down here. Her hair is already shorter. I don't have to worry about that, but if it was, I would want to make sure that I was cutting it. Push this back by her face so that it goes back how she would wear it if she was going to wear it down. Comb and take any little stragglers off that I need to. Then when I'm all done, I'm going to make sure I have her head on straight. And then I'm going to pull this little front forward to make sure that it's even and take off any little stragglers that are just hanging out there, or check to make sure that one side's not a lot longer than the other. I literally have like 4 hairs, which is pretty good though. And I'm going to face her in the mirror. And I'm going to cross check my sides. Make sure that my right and my left are even. Work my way back, right behind the ears. Make sure that you're taking from the same places as you're working your way through the haircut. Looks good. That would be our solid form blunt haircut.